we're gonna start the thing that most students don't like. And actually, the thing that most students don't like is writing the essays.
Mhm.
I designed this presentation in these classes because we will have 6 classes here, um, with essays that mostly cover the most popular kinds of essays in international exams. It can be for TOEFL IBT or also for IELTS. So we are gonna see these. I chose 6, the most important ones. We're gonna see today. We're gonna see the theory, how I suggest the student does it, and tomorrow you will practice it by yourself. And the same will be for the following 5 weeks.
Mm.
I suggest that you pay attention to the way I do it, and at least uh, for starting, follow the way I do it, because otherwise, sometimes the students think that they have their own personal touch. It's true, everybody can have its personal touch. However, um, sometimes when a person starts writing about their things, they do not answer the questions. Okay, so basically, um, the 6 kinds of questions are here, which are compare and contrast, or sometimes, give me a second, please. Or sometimes it is advantages or disadvantages. Either way, is the same format for the essays. Then we have choose given opinions, in which the topic that you will be presented in the TOEFL exam, they will give you 3, 4 opinions, 3, 4 options, and then you have to choose one, and then you have to say why with reasons. Another one is to agree or disagree with a topic with a statement. For example, do you agree that people should go to do military service? And you agree, disagree. Mhm. Then for, against, or suppose, oppose, which sometimes students think that no, but this is the same of agree, disagree. So the teacher just don't, or he wanted to add one more. But if we see it on detail, it's a little bit different, because if you do for, against, and support, opposed things the same way, agree, disagree, you will notice that there is a very huge difference. Then open-ended questions. Well, those are questions that the name says it. It will about your opinion. Like, for example, what about, I don't know, Independence Day, blah, 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 and you start writing. Mhm. And then the integrated task, which is, I consider, the most difficult, in which you have to read, you have to listen, and then you have to write a paragraph. To be honest, in the past, from these 6 essays, the last one was not in my list. I had another one, but I included this one, which took me more time also. But this is really repetitive in TOEFL exams. So the last one would be something that you should have to pay attention. So we're going to start with the first one today. Comparison, contrast, advantages or disadvantages. This is the way we're going to work during these 6 weeks. I know it's a robotic practice. Many people say that. I also agree with that, and that it's kind of robotic. But I repeat, for you, for a good start, try to follow these steps. Then after you get some practice, you can do your personal touch, you can have your personal comments, your personal style. But to start, follow these ones. I have seen many cases in which they thought that it was too robotic. They wanted to start their own way, and honestly, they had very difficult times trying to do it. So please, Luis, can you read the 10 steps there, please?
Step one, Name the two things. Step 2, brainstorm how they're similar. Step 3, write a paragraph about similarities. Step 4, brainstorm how they are different. Step 5, write a paragraph about differences. Step 6, write a summary sentence to describe the first item. Step 7, write a summary sentence to describe the second item. Step 8, write a personal preference statement, if necessary. Step 9, write an interesting hook. Step 10, use a layout to put your essay together.
Thank you. So then these are the steps we should follow. And next to this, there is a format that is like simply a format in which you have to complete, and that's it. You don't need to put some other words. For example, we are going to copy step 9, step 6, step 7. Then this essay will compare and contrast, blah, blah, and blah, blah. Then first, I will describe how things are similar, and you paste the step 3. Now I will describe how the two things are different. You paste the step 5. Then step 8, if you're not asked, you do not have to put it. Then I hope you enjoy reading this comparison contrast between blah, blah, and blah, blah. That is basically the model. I repeat, this is a model for the starters. After some practice, you can have your personal touch. So I'm gonna stop sharing this one. I'm gonna share with you a worksheet that I prepared. This is also only for this class. The first time I use this worksheet because I consider that here you can understand it easier. So we have already read the steps. The steps are there. This is the layout we have already seen. And we're gonna start. Luis, can you read that topic, please?
Compare and contrast traditional and modern means of communication.
Mhm. This topic is a real topic from a TOEFL IBT exam. It's not something that I just popped into my mind. It's something real. I have the steps. I have already copied them. So let's start working. Remember that I will be copying from my PowerPoint here to save some time because if I start writing, it will take too much time. So let's start working. Luis, name
Hmm?
the two things we have to compare and contrast, please.
Hmm. What two things
According to this topic, what are the two things we have to
traditional
compare
and
and
modern
contrast?
means of communication.
Uh-huh. So the first one is traditional means of communication. Mhm. And the second is
Modern.
modern means of communication. Okay, we're gonna go step by step, little by little. Do not get so desperate. So you have it everything clear. Mhm. So we have the two topics we have already identified. In the step 2, it says brainstorm how they are similar. Okay, Luis, can you tell me some ideas that any idea that comes to your mind, how they both are similar?
Both are means of communication.
Okay, both are means of communication. Yeah, keep
Mm,
saying things, Luis, because in this part, in the brainstorm, you just write whatever idea that comes to your mind. You don't have to stop thinking that this is correct, this is incorrect. That's not the idea. The idea is only to write, to say as many ideas as you can. Yeah, they are both means of communication. Another, are you there?
I don't know.
Any idea that comes to your mind? Hurry up. Yeah, they are both means of communication. Another one. How are they similar? You can talk about that let people to communicate. They both are in written, probably. They both are spoken. Any idea that comes to your mind, Luis?
Mm,
Are you there?
yes,
Any other idea?
I don't have any.
Come on, Luis. Try to say anything that comes to your mind. Okay. I will be copying my idea. Well, I had many ideas, but I chose this idea. Let me copy it here. Mhm. They are similar in their different form. What do I mean is that it can be all kinds of communication or modern kinds of communication. Well, the basic thing that they do is to let people communicate. So this is
Mm-hmm.
what I chose for my paragraph. Because in this brainstorm process, you can have as many ideas, but then you have to choose which one you think is the most important, or not necessarily that you think this is the most important or the thing that will show people that you are the expert. That is not the idea. The idea is something also that you can write about, that you have information. So I chose that they are similar in their general form. In the step 3, you have to write a paragraph about similarities. Mhm. So in this part, just a second. Mhm. Okay, I'm gonna write about their general form. I'm gonna copy my paragraph from the one that I have already been working. And this is my paragraph. Mhm. Can you read my paragraph, please, Luis?
Mm-hmm. One similarity between current and previous methods of communication relates to the form of communication. In the past, both written forms, such as letters, were frequently used, in addition to oral forms, such as telephone calls. Similarly, people nowadays use both of these forms. Just as in the past, written forms of communication are prevalent, for example, via email and text messaging. In addition, oral forms are still used, including a telephone, mobile phone, and voice messages via instant messaging services.
Mhm. So this is my paragraph about how similar are they. That in fact they are similar because of the general form. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So we are gonna do the same process with the step 3, which is brainstorm how they are different. Okay, so now Luis, try to think how the old and traditional methods of communication are similar to the ones, are different to the ones we have now.
It's different technology.
Yeah, different technology. Mhm. What else can you say?
Mm. It's different in how much information you can
Ah,
send.
that's nice. Uh-huh. Different about the amount of information. That's good. What else?
Mhm. It's different in how fast the other person receives the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How fast? Something else that pops up into your mind?
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah, you have something else?
no,
Do you have something else?
no.
Okay, I'm gonna copy mine ideas. Just a second. I'm gonna make this one smaller. And I put 14 here. Mhm. So now, in my case, I chose also the velocity. That's thank you, Luis. That's very similar to what you chose. And I chose the range of tools available, that we have different technology, which is similar to this one too. I call this one a wide range of tools because we have many different ways. And I also chose this one. According to my model, I chose is I call it speed. When I was working on this example, I had many ideas and I chose this one and this one. I chose those two because I also wanted my students to notice something that the most basic thing that you can do in this kind of essays is to choose one topic for the similarities and only one for the differences. That would be the very basic style. However, I also wanted to cover in this lesson that question. Christian, what would happen if I recognize that there are two differences that I consider important? That means that I discard both or that I join both. So I decided to take into account these two ones uh, to show you that mm, you can do it. You don't have to be very robotic that, okay, if I mention one similarity is one difference. If I mention two similarities, two differences, you can think that way. However, I have also learned that that's that's very robotic. How about you mention one similarity and two differences? I don't think there is any problem. So then you have to write a paragraph about differences, but I repeat, in this lesson, I chose to choose two differences because I consider them important. And as I chose two differences, that means that I will have to write two paragraphs. Okay, so I'm gonna paste my two paragraphs here. Mhm. Can you read this first paragraph, Luis?
Mhm. However, there are clearly many differences in the way we communicate over long distances, the most notable of which is the speed. This is the most evident in relation to written forms of communication. In the past, letters would have taken days to arrive at their destination. In contrast, an email arrives almost instantaneously and can be read seconds after it was sent. In the past, if it was necessary to send a short message, for example at work, a minute could be passed around the office, which would take some time to circulate. This is different from the current situation, in which text message can be sent immediately.
Mhm. That is one difference that Luis mentioned. And the second one I chose is here is the second here. Mhm. Can you read the second one, please, Luis?
Mm, okay. Another significant difference is the range of communication methods. 50 years ago, the tools available for communicating over long distances were primarily telephone and the letter. By comparison, there are a vast array of communication methods available today. This include not only the telephone, letter, email, and text messages already mentioned, but also video conferences via software such as Skype, mobile phone apps such as WhatsApp, and social media such as Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, so we have
Mhm,
the two paragraphs there. We are in step 5.
mhm.
Then it says write a summary sentence to describe the first item. But before that, uh, I have to point out this one, Luis, the transitions, the connectors. I will highlight this. Mhm. Can you read this part, Luis?
Okay, and the part that's highlighted in green.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One similarity between current and previous methods of communication relates to a form of communication.
Mm-hmm. If you notice, this sentence introduces this paragraph because it
Mhm,
says one similarity between current and previous methods of communication relates to the form of communication. Mhm. If you notice in the second ones, I did almost the same. Yeah, give me a second. Mhm. Here, here my connector, my transition would be however, which means that on the other hand, the opposite, and I introduce my opposite paragraph with this thing that says however. However, there are clearly many differences in the way we communicate other long distances, the most notable of which is speed. You see, the first sentence lets me, first one, I'm saying with this word that however, I'm saying that I'm going to talk about something that is opposite. Second, if you read the complete first sentence, it introduces the topic because I'm going to talk about the speed. That's crucial.
mhm,
The same is in the next one. It says another significant difference. Again, I know, especially for engineering students, this will be like, no, this is too robotic. No, I want to do my style. And in your style, you do not want to put these transitions, these first expressions, and you want to go straight to the point and write. But remember, you're writing for somebody else. You're not writing for you. If you were writing for you, of course, you are going to understand what you want to say. But remember, think
mhm,
always about the audience. Is the audience going to be able to understand me if I say, for example, I'm going to talk about the speed? Is he going to understand? Wouldn't it be better if I say, however, one difference is the speed because in that way it's more manageable to understand the information you want to say. If you have another difference, you have to mention it. Like here, another significant difference, and you complete the idea, is the range of communication methods. You see, I am introducing that this is another idea and that my topic is the range of communication methods because nowadays we have different, it can be written, it can be a voice message, it can be telephone, it can be video conference. We have many possibilities. So this is my second topic. So let's recap. First, we identify the two topics. We brainstorm how similar they are. We chose the most important ones or the only one that we consider. We write a paragraph about that topic, which is general form, and is mentioned here, form of communication. That will be this topic. Similarly, in the step 4, you brainstorm how they are different. I suggest that during the official test, this process wouldn't take more than 40 seconds. I know it's very challenging. Many students struggle. How can I have many ideas in only 40 seconds, 45 seconds? But that is the time you have. On top of that, you have to choose probably the only one most important or the most important ones. And then if you choose to, as I chose to do this example, I have two paragraphs. Then, can you read the step 6, please, Luis?
Okay. Write a summary sentence to describe the first item.
Okay. A summary sentence that describes the first item. What was the first item, Luis?
The similarities between the communication methods.
But the first item.
Name the two things.
Do you see? That is on step
Traditional
1.
means of communication.
Traditional means of communication. So I chose for my first one. Give me a second. This is my sentence for the first part, which is before the advent of computers and technology, people communicating over long distances used traditional means such as letters and telephone. This is something that describes the first one. Remember that the first one in this case is the traditional methods. In the step 7, you have to write the one that describes the new ones, which in the task says modern means of communication. So in this part, you have to make another sentence for the second one. For the second one, I chose this other sentence. Here. Okay, Luis, can you read that one, please?
Okay. Nowadays, we have a vast array of communication tools which can vary from letters to video calls.
So that is the second. Again, in the step 6, I write about the first one, which was traditional. Before the advent of computers and modern technology, people communicate over long distances means traditional means such as letters and telephone. That was in the past. In the step 7, you write only one sentence. I also have had experience that some students in this part write many sentences. You only write one, because if you write many sentences, then you will have to write more, or it will be a disorganized paragraph, which we do not want to write. So in the second one, I want to write about modern things. And I said that we have a vast array of communication tools, which can vary from letters to video calls. Remember, In this part, we are not talking about differences. We are not talking about similarities. We are talking about traditional and modern means of communication. So I'm going to write here differences or similarities. No. Step 6 and 7, you only write about the topics. So this is no. Don't confuse no. Okay. This is no. Most students confuse in this part. No. Okay. So then you have step 6, step 7. Then write a personal preference statement if necessary. In this part, you can put your own style. What do you prefer? Remember that in the TOEFL, sometimes it will be here. It will be written here. For example, compare and contrast traditional of modern means of communication. Luis, in this topic that is from the TOEFL, is it asking you to say your opinion? Yes or not?
Hmm. Yes, I think.
Yes. Where does
Mhm.
it say? Write an opinion, or what do you think? Does it say?
It doesn't say like explicitly, but you can infer that when they say compare and contrast, they also mean that you have to give an opinion.
But does it say that you have to choose any of them?
No, not
No, it doesn't
necessarily.
say. That's very good. Okay, what Luis is saying is right. If you're comparing and contrast, by that matter of fact, you're saying an opinion. But in this topic, you're not supposed to say, I prefer the old style because I am old fashioned. No, is not asking you to do that. Or I prefer the modern style because I am the modern guy. You're not asked. However, remember that in some TOEFL exams, you will be added something like include your thoughts or what do you think or choose one. That would be different. That's why in this part, in the step number 8, I wrote if necessary. Let me see if I put something there in the step 8. In my model, so far I remember, I put it because it also says here, you see a step 8, if asked. If not, simply paraphrase steps 9, 6, and 7. So you have to be very careful in this part. Read what the exam is asking you. Let me check my example. Nope, I didn't include any personal thought about that. So we are gonna go to the number 9, but just a second. It says here that if asked, if not, paraphrase steps 9. Yeah, step 9 is the hook that I'm gonna explain to you in some minutes. Then step 6 and 7. Step 6 is about the first thing, which is traditional, and step 7 is why it is about the modern ways. In this part, remember, you only have to paraphrase. Do not include anything new in this part. So my sentence is only one short sentence. I'm gonna paste it here. Yep, I think here is fine. Okay, Luis, can you read this part, please?
Okay. In conclusion, methods of communication have greatly advanced over the past 50 years.
In this part, I am trying to summarize my first idea that Methods of communication have greatly advanced over the 50 years. And I have to mention about the past. Just give me a second. Yeah, that's fine. Then a hook. What is a hook? Do you have any ideas
Mm,
about what a hook for a essay is,
like
Luis?
something that you write to keep the reader interested in what you're writing.
Exactly, that's very good. Uh-huh. A hook is something that calls the reader's attention. It's something that makes your writing interesting. Remember, guys, that in the TOEFL exam, this part is evaluated by humans. It's not evaluated by a machine. Of
Mhm.
course, sometimes there is a machine that is going to look for some probably punctuation errors, probably misspellings. That is true. However, this will be read by teachers. And sometimes, most times, there are three people who are going to read. And the three people compare their answers. Mm, if the answers, if the points you got from these three teachers are the same, are similar, then that is your score. If there is a case in which one of the proctors gave you a very good, a very high punctuation, the other one gave you also very high, and the other one very, very low, the low score, in that case, they invite two more people. And in that case, they have to try to standardize what you are written, what their opinion is. If you are saying what the writer, what the writing is supposed to be, and then discuss that. But remember that you have to attract the reader's attention. To attract the reader's attention sometimes is difficult. Remember, if you do not attract the proctor's attention, the most likely to happen is that they will simply will stop reading yours one and they will throw it away. And remember that as this is a business, that's good for the company, right? Because you're not going to be evaluated. It's simply thrown away with a very low score. Nobody reads it. And then you get a very low score. Then, well, that's it. So try to catch the reader's attention. Well, I wrote this sentence. Luis, could you please read my hook?
Mhm. Before the advent of computers and modern technology, people were communicating over long distances using traditional means such as letters and the telephone.
Uh-huh. Mhm. And step number 10 is the layout. Use the layout to put the essay together.
Mhm.
So let's go back here. I'm gonna copy the layout down below. And let's start doing some copy paste. Okay, so it says paste step 9 there. Remember, you always start your paragraph, your essay with a hook. This is my hook. Then it says step 6. Step 6 is a summary of the first item. The first item is the traditional means of communication. I paste it here. Mhm. Then I have my step 7. It is here. Mhm. Then I can say, this essay will compare and contrast traditional and modern means of communication. Mhm. Then it says, first I will describe how the two things are similar. As I told you, this is my introduction for the second paragraph because I'm going to focus on the similarities. But remember that I have already included something like that in my first one. because it says one similarity between current and previous methods of communication relates to the formal communication. I have already included that. So as I have already included, I do not have to copy, but you can also copy. For example, let's get rid of this one. We can even copy from this part if you want. That's step 3. Where is it? Here. Step 3. First, I will describe how the two things are different. Let's see if it fits there. In the past, both written forms such as letters were frequently used in addition to oral forms. You see, it fits there. Okay, but if I want to do it, because I have already had my introduction, I can copy all of this, but do not repeat. As this is already done, I simply paste everything there because this is my introduction. Then I will have to paste. Now I will describe how the things are different. Step 5. Again, I do not need this introduction because I have already put my introduction that I have already explained. And remember, supposedly should be one paragraph if you want to do one similarity, one difference. That's what I suggest for the first time, but I decided to put two to also try to show you that this is not like very robotic thing that you will have to write only one. So I have two here, simply paste them. Basically, the green ones are about differences. You have there the transitions, the connectors. Then I'm ready to finish. I am not asked to say if I prefer one or the other one. That's not my task. And be careful about that. You can say, but teacher, I want to give my own opinion. But remember, this is an evaluated essay in the TOEFL. You are not asked for an opinion. You don't have to put it. More than that, probably if you write your opinion, probably then it is an incorrect essay. So let's see. I didn't write, so I only put this one. In conclusion, methods of communication, blah, 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 which also summarizes my hook that I have already explained to you. So this will be my step 8, excuse me. And I can put, I hope you enjoy reading this comparison and contrast between traditional and modern means of communication, right, Luis? Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, you can put that. However, I wanted to do it a little bit different, and I think I wrote something different in my example. Let me paste it. Only until this part, you're done. But let's see what I wrote there. This is what I wrote. So in this part, what I wrote from this part until the end is, while there are some similarities, such as the forms of communication, there are significant differences, chiefly in relation to speed communication and range of communication. You see, it's actually the same. I am simply paraphrasing, and I'm saying that there are similarities and differences. And I am also adding another sentence that is, there is no doubt that technology will continue to progress in the future. The advanced tools which we use today will also become updated. Outdated. So if you want to do the very basics, you can do like this one. I hope you enjoy reading this comparison and contrast between traditional and modern means of communication. That would be the very basic. But from this part to here, I'm gonna paint it in another color. I chose this one. which at the end is the same. Because it says comparison and contrast. I'm saying there are some similarities, compare, such as the form of communication. This is basically a saying, comparison. There are significant difference chiefly in relation to communication, the ratio of communication tools available, which is about the contrast. It's almost the same. And there is also one final, this is a bit important too. If you want to finish your essay in a slightly different way, you can also try to use this other thing. This thing gives you like a conclusion for your writing. You can stop here. Here, you finish there.
Okay.
If you want to be a little bit more sophisticated, try to include one sentence at the final that also englobes and gives the idea to the reader that there is something else. There is something else that needs to be discovered. Like, for example, there is no doubt that technology will continue to progress in the future, and the advanced tools which we use today will also become updated. That would make your writing a little bit more sophisticated. There are some people who also put a question here. It used to be my style, for example. In some cases, it is recommendable that you throw a question to the reader, to the proctor. For example, what question can I write here? For example, I can say, will you be able to deal with a new technology? And this is very interesting. It was my style many years ago to challenge my reader with a question that is very nice. However, I can tell you, according to the statistics, many students choose this style, like leaving a question for the proctor, for the reader. So as many people are using, more people are using this style, it has become too popular. So most proctors are already expecting that style. So up to you, guys. If you want to pick this style, you can do it. It's very nice because it makes your reading very interesting. But it's also something that many students are doing. So you make the decision. You want to pick this style or not? But remember, this conclusion, if you do until this part, then you're done. So this is our fifth paragraph essay. And I repeat, why is fifth paragraph and not five paragraph? Because I decided to include two similarities. But basically, it should be only four paragraphs. Yes, one similarity, one difference, introduction, conclusion. It should